she was curious about World Peace event, which is happening and scheduled for the 15th of May. She was wondering if this peace event would be purposeful.
It was very purposeful when it happened before, and it'll be purposeful again. And especially with the lockdowns happening in Canada and some other parts of the world, and they may still be existing, it may not be during that time. It is really a time to really stand forth and speak truth, to stand truth, to feel free, to love one another. It's wonderful. We'll be applauding that, be a part of that with all of our beloveds we have there in the ground crew.
Fantastic. Okay. And so is there anything else you want us to know about the 15th of May and the event that's scheduled?
It'd really bring up the vibrations, especially the ones involved and the ones who may not be physically there. It will bring up the vibrations enough for what's to come eventually, and to help the ones who are moving on and the ones who are not.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. And she had another question about the immigration camps in Midland, Texas, who contain all teenage boys. What is going on there? She's confused and curious about the purpose of that.
The government control in South America has always been a bit of a most horrible movie you could watch. And the borders are a little more open for them to cross. No one's stopping it. There's also a little bit of exaggeration the media is using for distraction. There is some camps, and it's mostly for protection for those who have crossed without their families. They're trying to protect their children because they feel completely threatened. They feel if their children are safe, they can perish, or other family members. But the media is also taking control, or not taking control, but they are exaggerating this too.
I see. And so what are they afraid of? Why are they so concerned for their children and their safety?
Well, a lot is a drug cartel. Seems to be less, maybe not so much a drug cartel, but it's gang members. Some of the powerful ones aren't so in power anymore, and these ego-minded gang members are taking their turn, or thinking it's their turn, and threatening each village, each household, almost like going to each household and demanding money from each household, or give me your firstborn, so they can be part of this gang member. And it's feels like there's no police activity to control this. It's all not being shared on the media, and they feel they have no protection. And so they feel like all they can protect is their children. They're trying to do so.
Oh, I see. And so this is why they're needing their children to be put into these safety camps then for protection?
They don't realize that their children are going to safety camps. They just want them out of that country, and hoping and praying that someone will see their children and help them. It's a complete leap of faith on the family member's part, because they feel they have no other option. It's heartbreaking.
Absolutely. That is, I mean, I've never even heard about it because I don't listen to the news. So this is
This is not something you'll see on the news, that part right there.
right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Might have to think about how we can help those people who are so in fear of their situation.
They're in complete fear. Um, any kind of group love healing for them would help. Some of them are in such fear, they're not even able to energetically feel that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Well, we'll send love and protection to all who need it at this time, and we will work as a group to be able to tap into them more and support them as much as we can. So thank you for letting us know about that today.
Most definitely. Just also, since Trump has, and not, he's not in the public eye as in power, but he still is controlling. But since he's not in the public eye, that has also something to do with what's going on in South America. There was countries who respected him, but don't respect Biden. So some countries are thinking they can step and do whatever they want to within their country or step over. That's also something to do with it too.
Oh, I see. Yes, I can see how that would be a on flow effect. Okay, thank you so much. And in terms of new Ascension symptoms, people are sensing fluttering in the left ear and a keen sense of smell. Are these new symptoms? And what is the purpose of them, if so?
Not every human is experiencing this Ascension symptom, and yes, it's new symptoms for those to experience it. It is to heighten the senses within the audio area and also the smelling. It's it kind of and not really is escalating the primal part of the human for able to smell, hear out issues and help others. Audio and smells. It's kind of along the sense of a third eye becoming more open or your vision becoming more clear. It's just two different senses to help with what we may be using certain ones for, and helping others with shifts or whatever is going to happen in their area coming up, or it may not have to be used, but we're preparing.
Okay, thank you. And in terms of being on the new earth, will we still be able to smell? I heard in a session that we don't breathe the same. What can you tell me about that?
If we want to smell, you can smell. All you got to do is ask. Manifestations are right away.
And what about breathing?
It's a different sense. It may not be the in-out breath as we feel now, but it's more of a cellular level of the cells expanding on its own, just like we do when we breathe. So this is a little different.
Fantastic. Okay. Always good to hear new information and clarification and confirmation. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, there was another question about the containment of negative energy in Europe. This vehicle had a dream of a human meat plant in Transylvania, Russia. Tell us about the purpose of that dream and what's really going on there, please.
That dream was the same dream that caused her to quit eating meat. It was also, she could tell, this was the location of this warehouse was around Transylvania, Russia. And there's only minions left of this negative energy, and the containment in certain areas of the world, and Europe is one of them. So the dream it was multifaceted. Dream was to show, of course, what's the difference between mutilating animals and mutilating people for consumption. It was also showing certain areas of the world which are in more trouble than others. Also for this vessel, it was to show her that she was out of sync within herself. And it's also showing that there is astral work that is done with each light worker as they sleep. And there was some work being done in that area. It's containing it. We are allowing her to see that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fantastic. In terms of human meat, is there any chance of you giving us more information about how do the people or the beings who eat the human meat, is this done after? I mean, can you explain more about that so we can deal with that?
That was more crimes against humanity, when those were more prominent during that time, which is not really prominent anymore.
Okay, great. Because I know a lot of people were really worried that if they bought meat at the supermarket, that somehow it's going to be human flesh.
The analogy of that was mostly, well, the only ones who really ate human flesh were of the crimes against humanity, the secret societies of the powerful ones within that, for whatever, for their ceremonies they did. Grocery store meat is mostly of beef, yes, and all kinds of different types of meats, but they're not all that pure either. And they're full of anxiety from how the animals were killed and how they were fed. And it's just it could be just as horrible as what happened to a human and them being in a grocery store as an animal and then being in a grocery store. It's just either way. It's had to have more of a love of all life.
Absolutely. Could we, as we are passing the meat aisle in sections in our supermarket, are we able to send love and healing to that meat and to those animals who chose this life lesson and experience and contract, knowing that most of the people who consume that meat have no idea what they are consuming, and therefore we are able to pass forward love and healing to the people that we don't even know, but they are in our communities consuming this fear-based meat?
Yes, that is very needed for the animals and humans alike. Yes.
Okay, because normally when I see the meat in the supermarket, I have a massive resistance and judgment of all, and I need to get over that myself. So I will now have this new approach when I see that, knowing there's an opportunity for me to help.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much. And then the other question that is needed by this vessel is, share us more information about the solar flash, please. So what can you tell her about that?
For this vessel, we gave her one glimpse of the solar flash months ago and haven't really given her more glimpses of it because of her impatience. And she needed to concentrate on her present 3D life and be of help to other people and not keep looking to the future for something that hasn't happened yet. And so she was curious. But the solar flash is not as quite a flash, but it is an enlightenment for each individual when the shift happens. Some will see it as a solar flash or really see it what it truly is. And that's your own light within yourself, of being a light being that you truly are.
Sounds fantastic. Can't wait for that experience. So thank you very much for that. And this vehicle has also had visions of seeing only skins left from our bodies after we shift. Is it the ones left behind on the old Earth? Or is it the ones that are left behind on the old Earth will see that?
When the shift happens, it may seem that some people just disappear. And for those who are left on old Earth and are trying to investigate and be their own detective, that's what they may see. You're not going to quite see, a freshly dead body, but see something of that because of the essence of that individual. It's an ascension. We are ascending. So that's not a dead body they'll be seeing, but they're leftovers of what's not needed. That and the rest goes. So it'll be kind of for those who do their own detective work during that time will see this. Those are the ones who will start putting the puzzle together, figure it out, and then start helping others with it.
So, how will they know the difference between, in quotation marks, dead person versus someone who has just merely ascended?
Well, for a person who was killed by, let's say, a gunshot or a heart attack, compared to someone who has just ascended, the body is still there with flesh and all and lifeless. The one that ascended is looks almost dehydrated, completely dehydrated. The skin is left and the clothes are there, and that's what they'll experience. A lot of them won't see this because their eyes won't let them. It will only be for some to see. For others, it will be that people just disappeared.
Okay, okay. That's incredibly interesting to know. So, okay, I'll have to think about the next and most appropriate question for that. So, is there anything else you can tell us about how people on the old Earth will experience uh, what has been left over and their life after the shift?
A lot of the geographical terrain will be different in some areas, very drastic in others because of natural disasters. And so for certain ones in certain parts of the world, it'll be worse than others, depending on where they live. Some will actually almost enjoy it because they're going to walk right into big old houses and make themselves at home, while others are just demoralized. It's to be a combination of that. Um, Electricity and internet will still be going for a little while, but it will eventually cease. There'll have to be communities work together. There'll be looting of stores. Eventually, the ones who are police officers or taxi cab drivers or doctors, nurses, or whatever their field is, will not be helping others as much because they realize they got to protect their own families who are left. Survivor mode. Well, there'll still be the humanitarians who will help others anyway, and there'll be basically like-minded people coming together as like-minded people as groups to help and survive. While you'll have others that'll be more of a gang type scenario, and it'll just evolve that way, and eventually it will be seen and understood. Everyone needs to help each other to survive.
Yes, you'll have to overcome a lot of inner work to be able to want to be that profound humanitarian and still survive without being threatened or in fear of others.
Right. It will be some inner work, just a lot of coming out of their own selves and being of use for themselves and others, and realizing that humans are a social animal, not hermits. We ought to work together.
So true. So true. And in a sense of the animals, is there going to be certain types of animals that will not have shifted that will be obvious?
The more of a predator of an animal, the more predatory they are the ones who will more likely not. For example, alligator, just had the sense of eat and sleep. Some of the cat family of in the jungles or in the Safari Desert that are all about survival mode of kill.
So I'm getting a sense also that a lot of animals will shift. Will this give people more questions about what actually happened since most of humanity and then most of the animal kingdom left on one certain day?
There'll be some confusion because of natural disasters. They would think they just perished because of natural disasters. It's going to take some time for them to put the pieces together and realize that not everything left because or perished because of natural disasters. Some really aren't there. So it's going to be communication between and travel, going from one end of the world to the next to figure this out and talk to others of what they've experienced.
Yeah, thank you. And in terms of the beings that are in the inner earth, as we call them, will the people on the old earth be aware of them after the shift or still completely oblivious?
Some will be completely oblivious, and others who start doing their own detective work and start putting the pieces together will suddenly see what's been there all the time, not realizing it, and then it will be again a community effort to help one another.
Nice.
The inner beings, of course, being a little more advanced and able to help more.
Oh, thank you. That will be very appreciative of them, I'm sure. So the next question that this person has is, how is Gaia going? And can we send her much love?
She is still remaining patient, but she's like on life support. She's hanging on. She's hanging on with the help of all of her team and the support she's receiving from the collective and from the love that's being sent out from humanity. But she's hanging on, and she could definitely use love and support. It'd be easy for her to give up, but she's still trying.
Thank you. Well, we definitely do all send her love and appreciation for her patience with us as we are trying to work out this shift in the best ways appropriately for everyone. Are we able to, gosh, what was I thinking? Just extend her our profound gratitude at this time.
Yes, and much love to her. Much as high vibrational, all the love and hugs so you can energetically give. Much needed for her right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that opportunity to be reminded of our duties and responsibilities for that. Also, the Becca would like to know about my new book project. It will flow easy and be done within a month's time, published in a month. And she sees a vision of it like a movie. The book of Ali with Denzel Washington. He carries around the book like a Bible and protects it.
Yeah, the movie is a book of Eli.
I see.
And the actor who played the main character, one of the main characters is Denzel Washington. And throughout the movie, it's the movie, it does show a desolate earth after some kind of trauma that has happened. And very little running water, lots of gangs, destruction, people in survival mode. And he is going from one end of the earth to the other, carrying a book, which is a Bible, all in Braille, blind the whole time, and no one knew it. That's the movie. So that was being shown that how important the book was, and when he finally made his destination, it was published and spread. It was going to be spread. Because the books in that movie were all destroyed. So, to give you a little bit of enthusiasm, or know that you're being supported, is to show the importance of that. That for those who are left and may find the book, either how they find it online or actually print it off themselves, and we use it as a toolkit for survival and spread it. And just one person can spread it to others. It'll be very purposeful, very helpful.
Oh, I see. Thank you. I do know that a lot of people who listen to sessions who are still on the skeptical range of their journey of spirituality hear things like when we talk about the shift in the new earth and the old earth, and they want to refer it to something that's comfortable to them that they already are aware of, such as movies and books. And it feels like there is a lot of TV programs, such as The Walking Dead, for example, and there is a lot of other series that show people these doom and gloom situations and how people are surviving through it. Is this material making such an event in the conscious collective that we're creating this, co-creating this, or is this information that we are learning and growing from to consider one day possibly this is our future? What can you tell us about our reality versus our entertainment, in quotation marks, that we see and we're absorbed into?
It's more the latter. Through some of the writers and the producers, we have gotten some messages through for showing what's to come, how to prepare, and all kinds of different scenarios, and how to expand. And so not all of it's just plain old science fiction. There's a lot of truth there. And a lot of people watch the movie and just go on their way, and others ponder it. When you think about all the science fiction series and movies and books there are out there, either think someone has a big imagination or are they seeing the truth? That's for one to figure out themselves. But we have our reasons, we put them out there. Let's expand the mind and see all truths.
Thank you so much.